AITA for shutting out the family who kicked me out at 16? I'm John, 34, and every year on my birthday, I still buy one small cupcake instead of a cake because I got used to celebrating without the twin brother who shared my face but never shared my consequences. Most people think twins grow up as a package deal. In my family, my brother Ryan was the promise, and I was the problem they kept trying to explain away. Ryan and I looked enough alike that teachers mixed us up until they learned our voices. Relatives used to laugh and say, "There's the good twin and the difficult twin," like it was a cute joke and not a label adults were handing to children. My parents laughed along at first. Then they started acting like it was true. If something broke, I was asked what I did. If Ryan came home late, I was asked why I was stressing him out. If we argued, I was told to stop competing. Ryan could stand in the middle of a mess with glass on the floor, and somehow I would still be the one told to explain myself. When I was little, I thought I could fix it by being better. Cleaner room, better grades, quieter voice, faster apology. But the thing about being the family problem is that you don't actually have to do anything wrong. You just have to be available when someone needs blame to land somewhere. The night everything broke, we were 16. There had been a party I wasn't supposed to know about. Ryan had snuck out, taken keys he had no business touching, and brought a few people around who were older than us and too loud for that time of night. By morning, a neighbor's car was damaged down one side. School discipline paperwork was involved because some of the kids were from our school, and Ryan looked my parents in the eye and said I had taken the keys. I remember standing in the kitchen with my backpack still on my shoulder from school, watching my father's face harden before I even finished my first sentence. "Ask him where he was," I said. Ryan leaned against the counter, pale but calm. "Don't drag me into your mess." I wasn't even there. My mother, Evelyn, put both hands over her mouth like I had stabbed her. "Why would you do this to us?" I didn't. My father, Martin, pointed at me. "Your brother doesn't act like this." "He did," I said, and my voice cracked. "You just didn't look at him when he did." That was the wrong thing to say. Not because it was false, but because truth had always been treated like disrespect in our house. My father told me to pack a bag. My mother cried in the living room, but did not stop him. Ryan stayed quiet, which was the closest he had ever come to honesty. I thought my dad was trying to scare me. I thought he would make me stand outside for 10 minutes, and then tell me I had learned my lesson. Instead, he opened the front door and said, "Maybe life outside will teach you respect." I had a backpack, 2 shirts, 1 pair of jeans, a phone charger, and the kind of shock that makes your body feel too slow for what is happening. I stood on the porch until the light turned off. The person who saved me was Mrs. Alvarez, an older neighbor who had known me since I was small enough to chase ice cream trucks barefoot. She found me sitting near the side of her house after midnight because I didn't know where else to go. She opened her door in a robe and slippers and said, "John?" I tried to tell her I was fine. I said it with my whole face swollen from crying, holding a backpack against my chest like it could keep me together. She looked past me toward my parents' house, then back at me. "I can't fix your parents, baby," she said. "But you're not sleeping outside tonight." Her garage had a concrete floor, an old fridge that hummed all night, and shelves full of paint cans and Christmas decorations. She gave me a blanket that smelled like laundry detergent and dust, and I used my backpack as a pillow. I remember staring at the bottom of a folding table and thinking, this is what family chose for me. I kept going to school because I didn't know what else to do. A counselor helped me use the office as a temporary mailing address for a while. Mrs. Alvarez let me charge my phone and shower before school when she could. I ate cheap food from gas stations and convenience stores. I learned which teachers noticed too much and which ones looked away because looking away was easier. My parents did not come for me. My mother sent one letter through the school counselor a few weeks later. I kept it. It did not say, "Come home." It did not say, "I'm sorry." It said I had embarrassed the family, that my father was very hurt, and that maybe one day I would understand how much pain I had caused. I saved that letter in a cloud folder years later, along with photos, old screenshots, and emails. I didn't save proof because I wanted revenge. I saved it because being disbelieved changes the way you pack your memories. You start keeping receipts for your own life. For 18 years, the silence between us became its own weather. At first it hurt every day. Then it hurt on birthdays, holidays, and random afternoons when I saw 2 brothers laughing in a grocery store aisle. Eventually it became something quieter. Not healed exactly, just scarred over. I built a life that felt safe. Not flashy, not perfect, just mine. A house where the locks worked, where nobody went through my things, where nobody could decide I was guilty before I opened my mouth. Then, one evening, my doorbell camera sent a notification while I was rinsing a plate in the sink. Motion detected at front door. I checked the screen and saw 3 people standing under my porch light. My mother, my father, Ryan. For a second, my brain didn't understand what my eyes were seeing. My mother looked older, smaller in the shoulders, but she had the same expression she used when she wanted someone to feel sorry before asking questions. My father stood stiff with his jaw clenched, like he was already offended by the fact that I had a door between us. Ryan stood behind them with his hands in his pockets and a duffel bag at his feet. There were suitcases beside them, not overnight bags. Suitcases. One still had an airline tag on it. Another had an old storage label peeling off the handle. I walked to the door, but I did not open it all the way. I turned the deadbolt, left the chain on, and cracked it just enough to see them without giving them space. My mother's eyes filled instantly. "John," she said, like my name itself was a tragedy. My father looked past me into the house. "Open the door." I looked at the bags. "Why are you here?" Ryan gave a small laugh. "Come on, John. Don't make this weird." That was Ryan. Always acting like the injury was not the injury. The problem was your reaction to it. My mother pressed a tissue under her nose. "Family takes care of family." I stared at her for a second. Then I said, "That's an interesting thing to say at my door." Her face twitched. My father's jaw tightened. "We need somewhere to stay for a few weeks," he said. "You're telling me?" I asked. "Or asking me?" "Don't start," he snapped. I almost laughed. 18 years, and he still thought his tone had a key to my house. I kept my hand on the edge of the door. "How many weeks?" My mother looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at the porch floor. "A few," she said. "How many?" "John," my father said, "you have all this space. Don't be selfish." I didn't move. "Why here?" My mother wiped at tears that hadn't fallen yet. "We're still your parents." "And he's still your son," I said, nodding toward Ryan. "Why aren't you staying with him?" That question dropped between us like a dish shattering. Ryan's smile disappeared. "Don't make this weird," he said again, quieter this time. "I'm not making it anything. I'm asking a normal question. You picked him. So why is he standing behind you instead of opening his door?" My father stepped closer. The chain held the door in place, and for the first time that night, I was grateful for every small habit I had built around safety. "This is not how you treat your parents," he said. I looked at him, and for a second I saw the porch from the other side. 16-year-old me with a backpack. 16-year-old me waiting for the door to open back up. 16-year-old me learning that love could have a lock. Ryan shifted and said, "You always wanted to prove you were better than me. Now you finally get to act like it." There it was. Not "I'm sorry." Not "we were wrong." Not even "this is embarrassing and we need help." Just resentment that I had survived without them and dared to have something they needed. I felt something inside me go cold and clear. "Don't put your bag down," I said. "You're not staying." My mother made a wounded sound. "I carried you both. I shouldn't have to beg my own son for a place to sleep." "You're not begging," I said. "You showed up with luggage." My father said, "Open the door." "No." Ryan laughed again, but it was sharp now. "You're really going to do this over something that happened forever ago?" I looked straight at him. "You mean when I was 16 and homeless?" My mother cried harder. "No family is perfect." "A family being imperfect is forgetting a birthday," I said. "Locking a kid out is something else." My father jabbed a finger toward me. "You always had a chip on your shoulder. And you always had a favorite son. Go ask him for a room." Ryan stepped forward. "You got your little house, and now you think you're above us." "No," I said. "I think I'm inside it." That's the difference. I told them they could text me what they needed. I told them I was not having a porch conversation through tears and insults. I told them they could not bring bags inside, could not receive mail at my address, could not use my house for paperwork, applications, bills, or anything else. My father stared at me like he was trying to recognize someone he had never bothered to know. My mother whispered, "Do you know how this makes us look?" That told me more than she meant it to. I closed the door, locked it, stood there with my forehead against the wood until my breathing slowed. 10 minutes later, the family group chat started lighting up. I had not spoken in that chat in years. I was still in it mostly because nobody had bothered to remove me and I had stopped caring enough to leave. That night, my phone buzzed on the kitchen counter like an alarm. Evelyn, your father and I asked John for help tonight. He shut the door in our faces. Martin, he forgot where he came from. Ryan, he's been waiting years to act better than us. Cousin Mark, wait, what happened? Aunt Linda, John, is that true? Ryan, Mom is crying in the car. Hope he's proud. I read the messages with the same numb feeling I remembered from 16. The story was moving without me again. They had opened the door to the whole family, tossed me into the middle, and expected me to defend myself with empty hands. But I wasn't 16 anymore. I opened the cloud folder. There it was. The faded photo of my old backpack, clothes stuffed badly inside because my hands had been shaking when I packed. A screenshot of an email from the school counselor confirming I needed a temporary mailing address during junior year. A saved text from Mrs. Alvarez from years later, when I had thanked her again and she had written, "You were a kid sleeping in my garage because your parents locked you out." I will never forget that. There was my mother's letter too. The one where every sentence blamed me for making the family look bad, and not one sentence asked if I was safe. Then a private text came in. Aunt Denise. John, I should have told you sooner. I stared at the screen. Another bubble appeared. They talked about what to say before they came. Your mother said you'd fold if she cried. Your father said you wouldn't want to look disrespectful in front of neighbors. Ryan said if all three of them showed up, you'd feel cornered. My stomach tightened. I typed back. Why do they need a place? The answer took a minute. Your parents didn't lose everything overnight. Ryan just finally ran out of other people's money. Then she told me the rest in pieces, like she was ashamed to put it all in one message. Ryan had been in trouble financially for a while. Not one sudden emergency. Years of just this once. My parents had drained savings, signed paperwork they shouldn't have signed, and given up stability trying to rescue him from consequences. They had not been forced onto my porch by a cruel world. They had been led there by the same favoritism that got me thrown out. Ryan had told them I owed the family because I had gotten out. He said I was doing better and had room. He said once they stayed long enough, I would calm down. They could use my address, receive mail, get things sorted, and then John would help properly. Properly meant money, debt payments, open-ended housing. My name attached to problems I did not create. I sat at my kitchen table while the house hummed around me. The dishwasher, the air vent, the little normal sounds of a life I had built brick by brick while they pretended I was rubble. For a few minutes, I wanted to scream. Not just because they had planned it, but because some small, stupid part of me had still hoped they came because they missed me. Because they were sorry. Because time had softened something. Instead, time had just made them needier. I called Maya. She knew enough about my family that I didn't have to start from the beginning. I told her about the suitcases, the group chat, and Aunt Denise's texts. She was quiet for a moment, then said, "Do not let them inside." I didn't. Good. Do not let them get mail there. Do not take cash out for them. Do not sign anything. Keep everything in writing. I know. No, she said gently. You know it logically. But guilt is loud. So I'm saying it out loud. A boundary isn't revenge just because they hate hearing it. I rubbed my eyes. My mother said family takes care of family. Maya's voice softened. Then she should understand why Mrs. Alvarez has more right to your guest room than they do. After we hung up, I stopped shaking. The group chat was still going. Aunt Linda, John, your mom says they have nowhere to go. Cousin Mark, this seems harsh, man. Ryan, he likes this. Trust me. Martin, some people never grow out of being bitter. I opened my folder again. Not because I wanted to destroy anyone. Because I was done being tried in rooms where evidence was considered rude. I sent one message. John, I didn't forget where I came from. I remember exactly who locked the door. Then I sent the backpack photo. John, this is what I had when Dad kicked me out at 16. I sent the counselor email. John, this is the school counselor confirming I needed a temporary mailing address because I was not allowed home. I sent the text from Mrs. Alvarez. John, this is the neighbor who let me sleep in her garage. Then I sent the screenshot Aunt Denise had forwarded, the part where Ryan said I would fold if they all showed up and made me feel like the bad son. I did not call anyone names. I did not write a speech. I let the evidence sit there in the chat like furniture nobody could pretend not to see. For almost 3 minutes, nobody said anything. Then Aunt Denise wrote, Evelyn, stop. This is not the whole story. Cousin Mark, Wait. John was sleeping in Mrs. Alvarez's garage. Aunt Linda, Evelyn, Ryan, wow. Screenshots. You're insane. I saw Mrs. Alvarez's name appear because Aunt Denise must have added her. A second later, a message came through. Mrs. Alvarez, yes. He was 16. Then another. Mrs. Alvarez. He was a kid with a backpack and nowhere to sleep. The chat went quiet again. My mother sent nothing. My father sent nothing. Ryan sent a single laughing emoji, then deleted it. That should have been the end of the night, but Ryan never did know when to stop pushing a locked door. 20 minutes later, the doorbell camera notified me again. Motion detected at front door. Ryan was on my porch, alone at first, pacing with his phone in his hand. My parents pulled up behind him a minute later. Neighbors' porch lights started blinking on, one by one, little squares of attention in the dark. Ryan hit the doorbell twice, then knocked hard. Open the door, he shouted. Stop hiding. I stood in the hallway and looked at him through the camera feed. My father came up behind him. John. My mother was already crying. I called Aunt Denise and put her on speaker. Then I called Mrs. Alvarez from my other phone and did the same. My hands were steady now. I opened the door only as far as the chain allowed. Ryan pointed at me. You really had to humiliate us in the group chat. You started the group chat version, I said. You always do this. You make everything about the past. You came to my house with luggage. My father stepped forward. This little evidence game is over. Let your mother sit down. No. My mother sobbed louder. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Mrs. Alvarez's voice came through my phone, calm and sharp. Evelyn, I remember the night he slept on my garage floor. My mother froze. Mrs. Alvarez continued. I gave him a garage floor because the people who owed him a bedroom locked him out. Don't you stand on his porch and call him selfish. Ryan glared at the phone. Why is she involved? Witnesses, I said. Aunt Denise's voice shook a little, but she spoke. Ryan, stop. You told them he would fold if you all showed up. Ryan's face changed. Not guilt. Anger at being exposed. Seriously, he snapped. You're taking his side now. A porch light across the street turned on. A curtain moved in the window next door. My father lowered his voice, probably because he realized people could hear. John, this is family business. It stopped being private when you posted about me turning you away. My mother wiped her face. We had nowhere else tonight. You had 18 years to apologize before tonight. She looked wounded, but not sorry. There is a difference. Wounded people want comfort. Sorry people name what they did. Ryan leaned toward the crack in the door. Mom's crying. Are you happy now? I looked at him through the gap and saw my own face twisted into something meaner. Same eyes. Same bones. Different soul. No, I said. I'm tired. Then let us in. No. My father's voice hardened. You will regret treating us this way. Put that in a text, I said. He stopped. I looked at him. Actually, put all of it in writing. Put what you said when you kicked me out at 16. Put why you never came looking. Put why you showed up with bags before an apology. He stared at me, silent. I'm not playing your little evidence game, he muttered. Of course not, I said. You only liked evidence when Ryan didn't need any. My mother whispered. We all made mistakes. A vague apology is just a blanket you throw over a mess. Her eyes flicked toward the street, toward the neighbors, toward anyone who might be watching her be named instead of pitted. I took a breath and kept my voice level. I can help you find somewhere to go tonight. That place will not be my house. I will pay one night directly to a hotel desk. No cash. No keys. No mail. No address. No signatures. I'll send you a list of shelters, family services, and relatives you can call. That's the offer. Ryan laughed like I had insulted him. One night? That's it. That's it. You're enjoying this. No, I said. I'm ending it. My father looked like he wanted to argue, but the phones were on speaker, the neighbors were awake, and the old family script was not working. My mother cried harder, but this time nobody rushed to translate her tears into my guilt. Ryan grabbed his duffel bag so hard the strap snapped against his hand. You always thought you were better, he said. I shook my head. I just stopped being available. I closed the door. They stayed on the porch for a few minutes. I watched on the camera as my father talked with his hands. My mother sat on a suitcase, and Ryan paced like the world had wronged him by not opening for him. Then they left. I paid for one hotel night directly over the phone. I gave the front desk my card and made it clear no additional charges were authorized. I sent the address to my mother and father in a group text along with phone numbers for local services and a few relatives who had been so concerned in the chat. Then I wrote one more message. John, you do not have permission to use my address for mail, bills, applications, accounts, or anything else. Do not come back without being invited. All communication stays in writing. My father did not respond. Ryan did. Ryan, you got what you wanted. I typed back. John, no. I kept what I built. The next morning, my mother texted me. Evelyn, we all made mistakes. I hope someday you can forgive us. I stared at it while coffee brewed in the kitchen. Outside, the porch looked normal again. No suitcases. No crying. No father demanding obedience from the other side of my door. I replied, John, a real apology has nouns. Who kicked me out? Who lied? Why didn't you look for me? Why did you come to my house with suitcases before saying sorry? The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then nothing. That silence hurt, but not in the old way. It hurt like pressing on a bruise to see if it is still there. It was still there. It just no longer controlled my whole body. Family members reacted exactly how people react when truth ruins a comfortable story. A few apologized privately. Cousin Mark wrote, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Aunt Linda sent a long message about how she wished she had asked more questions back then, which was not the same as fixing anything, but it was more than I had ever gotten. Some said nothing. That was fine. Silence without attack felt almost generous compared to what I was used to. Aunt Denise called me later and cried. She said, I believed them back then, John. I'm sorry for that. I told her I appreciated her saying it. I did not tell her everything was okay, because it wasn't. But I let the apology be what it was. Late, imperfect, and still better than pretending. Mrs. Alvarez came by that afternoon with a container of soup and the same no-nonsense look she used when I was 16. She stood on my porch, looked at the door, and said, Good luck. I smiled for the first time since they showed up. Very good luck. Inside, she set the soup on my counter and looked at me for a long second. You survived them, she said. Don't hand them the key to what you built. I won't. That night, I took the cupcake from the fridge. It was vanilla with plain frosting, the same kind I bought every year. Usually I ate it standing over the sink because making a whole moment out of it felt sad. This time I put it on a plate. My phone buzzed once. Ryan again. Ryan, you're really going to let mom and dad struggle because of something from high school? I looked at the message, then at the cupcake. For years, I had wanted him to admit it. Not in some dramatic confession. Just one sentence. I lied. You paid for it. I'm sorry. Instead, all he had ever given me was proof that he knew exactly where the wound was and still pressed on it when he needed something. I replied, John, you don't need my forgiveness tonight. You need my address. Those are not the same thing. Then I muted him. I did not block everyone. I did not send one last giant speech. I did not need to. The door was locked. The group chat had the truth. My house was quiet. For the first time in years, the cupcake did not feel like a memorial for the family I didn't have. It felt like a small celebration of the one I had made, starting with a garage floor, an old blanket, and one woman who understood that a child outside at night is not a lesson. I don't hate my parents. I don't even hate Ryan, though I don't trust him with a paper cup, let alone my peace. What I finally understood is that I do not have to audition for love from people who only remembered I existed when they needed shelter. Family is not who comes back when you have something they want. Family is who does not leave a 16-year-old outside with a backpack and call it a lesson. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.